Do you have headphones? You might have. You got a little bit. Thanks for listening to the AZ12 podcast, proudly presented by Little Caesars. Code 15 off 50% off any $20 or more purchase. Code LCFREECC for a crazy combo with a pizza purchase. Joined by the great, the future coach of AZ12 Prep, Mr. Tyler Warden. I am merely Mike Luke. Hello, Tyler Warden. How are you doing, my friend?
I'd be doing a lot better if we hadn't found a way to choke that one.
Yeah, and we did choke that one away. I don't really know what else to say. Boog, what are you doing, dude? Stop. Okay, the first thing I can say is this. Arizona at the end of the game played not to win or not to lose.
Yeah.
I don't, and that really to me is kind of what this really comes down to at this point. I don't understand. Arizona had a chance with that the second to last possession before they took a knee to be able to really try to. They had been moving the ball. They had been getting first downs. They had a chance to be able to basically put the game away, and you went run, pass, and that was essentially it at that point. You played not to win at that point. Yeah, I think, and that to me has been way too much of a mark of the Brent Brennan era.
Yeah, I mean, it was finding a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. I mean, you've got a 10-point lead, 5 minutes left. You force them to have a 7-minute drive. You get the squib kick. You're in a position where you need 2 first downs and you seal the game. I don't necessarily hate run, pass. I know that's kind of like the go-to, meme, so to speak. It's just the way that you're doing it. It's inside zone. You got nothing there on some deep crossers and it was a brutal way to lose. The end of the regulation. You got 19 seconds left. You got 2 timeouts. I trust Noah to go throw the ball downfield. I would have liked to have seen it there. It was way too conservative. And for the people that have been clamoring for Seth Doege to be the coach in waiting, I think that this was a tough night for Seth Doege.
Yes, this was a very, very tough night for Seth Doege. So let's talk about it a little bit. There's a lot of stuff that Seth Doege does, and we're going to get to a lot of different things. There's a lot of stuff that Seth Doege does that I don't quite understand. The first one is obviously he really likes to use Sam Olsen on the short side of the field. He did that. He's done that a couple different times. Tyler, you know more about the X's and O's of football than I do. Why does this keep happening? Just because from a fan's perspective, like myself, you have a slow plodding tight end that you are trying to get the ball to, and he goes absolutely nowhere.
Well, look, I can't obviously speak to it from like the college level because I'm sure they're probably reading things a little bit differently. But I'll tell you from my perspective, in the way that we would kind of view the world, that is a run pass option where you are counting the amount of heads that are in the box, and you have a key read defender that based off of what he's doing, you're either handing the ball off or you're hitting that slip screen or the slit. What the problem inherent with that is in these short yardage situations where you have that option, if you're not getting the look that you want, then, it leads to you throwing the ball to Sam Olsen, who's actually covered, 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Right.
I think that in a lot of regards, Seth Doege and Noah Fafita are not seeing eye to eye on the field right now. And I think the biggest tell in all of that, obviously it's difficult when we're just watching on TV broadcasts and you can't see receivers downfield. But Noah sits in the pocket for 5 or 6 seconds looking around for somebody and is never open. Now, we can say that's a function of our receivers not getting separation, or that tells you that he had a window or he had a certain timing or a certain progression he was supposed to go through that he didn't hit it. What it makes me believe is that Noah is not trusting what he is seeing out there. And because of that, he is getting longer into his progressions. He's forcing himself out of the pocket. And that's just not a recipe for success. I mean, Noah is a guy that you need to move the pocket around for him.
Right. And the other thing too that I get, and the more that I look at it, is you're paying Noah a lot of money. I mean, it is. At this time, it's a profession. If you have the ball with 19 seconds, two timeouts, and you don't trust him, then you're paying the wrong guy that money. I mean, and again, I'm saying that from somebody I like Noah. But if you don't trust him in that situation to at least try to get you up the field, maybe you get a PI, maybe whatever the case may be, you can stop the clock. Then you got the wrong guy.
Well, that's the passiveness of Coach Brennan that we talked about, right? Like, it was very clear in the huddle that he came over and he said, "Hey, no, we're kneeing this. Right. Now, I don't know if it was, hey, I'm just clarifying what we've already discussed. At the end of the day, that's Brent Brennan's call.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you just blew a 10-point lead. You're playing at home. You've got 2 timeouts. You really only have to go about, call it 35 yards.
Right, which is very doable.
Very doable. Very doable. Now, look, at the end of the day, that wasn't the make or break situation with this game. It was all of the things that led up, before that. It was the offensive drive before that. It was, the 2 defensive pass interference calls, one of which I thought was absolutely terrible.
Oh, the one on Dansby?
Yeah. They were both on Dansby.
Yeah. The one in the yeah. Go ahead.
And that was very clearly DPI. The other one, I have no idea how that was called DPI in that situation. And I got to give credit to Danny Gonzalez. I got to give credit to that defense. I mean, they had 12 plays in the low red zone, and it wasn't until the 12th one that they finally busted it in. It's a tough night. It's a tough night.
Yeah, it's a tough night all the way around. The other thing too that I don't get about Doege is there's a lot of times when the run game is working, actually, like in the game, and then he just basically goes away from it. Like I said, there's a lot of different things to come in here, but at the end of the day, it just feels to me like you're not playing to win. And that to me is the biggest problem. If you're going to lose, go down. Listen, I would have kicked the field goal there. That everybody's upset about because points were at a premium. But I don't even beat him up too much for that because at least he was being aggressive. He was trying to do something. There's way too many times in his tenure where it's 4th and 2 at the opponent's 37-yard line. You're down 21 points and you're punting it or whatever. Yeah. I mean, so at least that was a departure from that. But then it comes right back into it. You've got you don't really try to get a first down, and then you get the ball back with 19 seconds, and you don't try to do anything there as well. And then when it went into, I remember messaging Sheer and I said, "There's no way they're winning once it went into overtime." You just didn't feel that. I just didn't feel that they were going to win that, and that's obviously what happened.
Well, and I'll say this, the 4th down calls, I think that they made the correct decision on each one of those. Like the one that we're talking about where it's kick or go for it. Yeah. I actually like going for it in that situation because the way I see it is you're up 3, you make it a 6-point game. This is not a game that's going to be decided by BYU having multiple possessions to score multiple field goals, right? Particularly with the weather and everything. I see it as like, all right, you get up 10 in that situation and you're in a good spot. And quite frankly, I mean, we were up 10. We, with 11 minutes left, we worked it all the way down to 5 minutes left and still found a way to kind of choke that one out. So I don't know. I'm not going to bang him up on that, but I will say this, like even the very last play of the game, I don't love the idea of throwing a wheel route, to the back pylon on 4th down.
And the other thing, I don't like that. And then it also felt too like there were 2 totally wasted plays on the one that he threw. I think it was to Chris Hudson in the corner where he was completely blanketed. That had no chance of succeeding. And then you had the other one. I think it was to Quincy Craig where you get like a 4-yard. To me, those just didn't feel like plays that were going to be productive plays.
Well, and I think what Noah's seeing on that one that was to Chris Hudson in the back corner, that's him reading man and thinking like, all right, I've got the matchup there. But like credit to Bamba, he had a pretty solid night. I just don't even love that Noah's even in that position where he's making that read and making that decision, right? I think that we got away from the run for a good chunk of the game there. I think Kedrick Reesano obviously had his best night of, in an Arizona uniform, or at least for this season. When we got to that overtime period, though, we just kind of did a lot of inside zone. We didn't have a lot of power. We weren't getting any outside runs. It just became very vanilla the last few drives when it did come to the running game. And then we're looking at 2nd and 10, 3rd and 9 or whatever the situations that we had were.
Yeah, and I think that's what's also frustrating is you got that lead by being aggressive. You in the second, especially when you came out in the second quarter after the rain delay, you were aggressive. And again, Arizona dominated that quarter. You played well in the third. And it's funny. You and I were DMing a little bit back and forth, and you're like, "This could be a really fun post-game show." And that's when we're up 10, and then it's like, all right, well, field goal, all right, 3 and out, and then they go march right down the field and score again off a punt. The other thing, too, that I want to talk about a little bit is the special teams. Let's talk about that because let's get a couple reads in here. But the special teams have been an well, you guys are smarter than me. You can do it. Okay. But first, Longview, Andre Veras. Now, I will not endorse Andre Veras, but I'm also not going to endorse Arizona's special teams coach. At the same time, though, Longview, adulting is hard. Did you recently change your jobs? Let's talk through what's going on with your old 401k and learn more about your new employer retirement plan. Trying to balance retirement savings with kids' college funds. Andre Veras has you covered. Check it out. Give Andre a call at 520-325-3456 and reference the AZ12 podcast for a complimentary initial meeting. All right, what else we got? All right, well, 88 crime. Arizona just got Arizona, I don't think you could say the loss was stolen because Arizona didn't try to win at the end. But either way, 88 crime. Give it a call, 882-7463. If you see a lot of bad stuff going on and you're wondering, I don't want to get my hands dirty, whatever the case is, call 88 crime, and they will get it covered for you. You won't have to worry about anything, and they have made a lot of different people. They made put a lot of bad people behind bars. Check it out. All right, now let's see. Now, Baggins, one last one. All right, Baggins, everybody in there. Dennis Walsh is in there. AZ12 podcast, you for 15% off. Now, join our VIP text club. Text Baggins to 877-797-0444 for specials and deals. All food made in-house daily. 12 Arizona locations, locally owned and operated. Use code AZ12 for 15% off. Okay, now, in order the Dennis Walsh special. All right, what's going on with the special teams? Why is this such a bad unit? And then the other thing, too, it is a consistently bad unit. Every single game we're talking about it, Tyler, where it's not that it's just okay. It's that it's not even close to being okay.
Yeah, I mean, you even had Weistong at punt return tonight, and there was a couple that were a little dicey there, right? The hands team with the 4.5 minutes left almost ended up being like a back-breaking play. Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for Genesis Smith making like an incredible play, they're getting the ball at the 15-yard line. I don't get it. I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, is that the reason we lost the game? No. But it is such a deficit that we put ourselves in every single week, whether it is kick return. I mean, granted, there was no kick returns tonight by either team. Whether it's in our punt return game, whether it's our punting and our punt coverage, right? Let's not forget that the drive, their last drive in regulation was set up by a great punt return, where our guys are completely bottled up in the middle of the field. Even our field goal, process, it's not great from the snapper to the holder to it's just all of it's rough. Now at the end of the day, how much of that is talent? How much of that is coaching? I don't know, but somebody's got to be accountable for it.
Somebody's got to be accountable. And the problem is it's not getting any better. That's the thing. Like you said, for the first 3 games, you had Jeremiah Patterson, who's essentially catching the ball at the 2-yard line each time. And then you had all kinds of issues with the kicking game as well. It reared its head again. Here's the thing. You know what you can't do in a situation like that with Arizona? You can't give them the ball at the 50-yard line where they've got 2.5 minutes left. That just can't happen. And there it is. It happens again. And like you said, I think that you make a great point. I mean, you're the future head coach of AZ12 Prep, so you're going to make a lot of good points. But you put yourself at such a deficit, and Arizona isn't good enough to be able to dig themselves out, especially against a well-coached, solid BYU team.
Yeah, like I'll say this. It's funny because from a rushing perspective, BYU had 258 yards on the ground. And in the first quarter in particular, it felt like we were getting absolutely gashed. All things considered, I think Danny G and that unit had a pretty good night, given what they were tasked with. So it's like when you have two of your three pillars of your football team that are playing down because of poor scheme or because of poor coaching or whatever the case may be, it just makes it impossible to go out and beat a top 25 team like this.
Yeah.
And it's tough because they had it. And part of the struggle here is like, look, at the end of the day, we took a number 18 team at home into double overtime and we were one play away, right? At the end of the day, this feels like a horrible loss.
Right.
It doesn't feel, there's no moral victories, but this one feels just like it feels like the turning point in like we know where this ship is headed.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that a little bit. And something that I don't understand here. Rage keeps talking about how this is a good loss. No, it's not a good loss. It's a bad loss because Arizona was up 10 with 5 minutes left, whatever the case may be. If this was a game that was going back and forth the whole game and, it's like 3 points here, 7 points here, cool. I get it. Arizona was up 10 and they totally took their foot off the gas. That is not a good loss, in my opinion. You have to look at how the game played out. It's not a good loss.
This game is Kansas State, but with a team that's actually good enough to capitalize on it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. That's a great way of putting it because, again, they were able to capitalize it on a way that Arizona wasn't. No, Rage, if Arizona's up 10 with 5 minutes left or whatever it is, and you basically take the foot off the gas, that is a bad loss. I'm just going to leave it at that one. But as far as the special teams goes, I don't know that there can be really any accountability mid-season. I don't even know what to do at this point because it's just so bad.
No, I mean, it's just one of those things that, like, it's going to the end of the season. This is going to be what it is. I mean, I'll say this. There's a lone bright spot in special teams. It's our kickoff because I don't think we've seen a non-touchback in weeks.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like, this is what we're going to deal with for the next 7 games of the season. And, again, I just go back to, like, offensively. It's so hard to wrap your hands around this offense right now. And that's partially play calling and just the when you're making certain play calls. Not only when you're making them, but the actual.
Can you expand upon that a little bit for because that's what people really like about the great Tyler Warden is that you have a real kind of inside understanding of that. What do you mean by that? I think I know where you're going with that, but what do you mean by that?
Well, so it's okay. What am I seeing defensively? I've got 2 high safety, right? So I've got, they're giving me a lot of cover 2 looks. Well, based off of that, what do I have in my play sheet that's my cover 2 beaters, right? Versus, hey, I'm getting more single high safety. I've got the cornerbacks they're playing up. I'm getting more of a cover 3 look. So I'm going to be looking for more of digs, or I'm going to be looking for more of like the speed outs or those types of things. You as a play caller, you have sections of your call sheet that are designed specifically for specific things, right? Hey, this is my 3rd and long. These are the plays that we came up with during the week, and these are the ones that we feel good about. Or, hey, these are my man beaters. And what I don't understand is, like, it feels a lot of times like we're running certain pass concepts against certain defensive looks that have not been changing intra-drive that just don't make any sense to me. So the 4th down play call, for example, where Noah ended up getting picked, we're running crossers against a very clear zone look. Now, look, again, this is not high school football. This is obviously a clear level above that in terms of college and your ability to have to be able to, throw the ball into certain windows. But it's like you're just not giving yourself the best chance to have a successful play on any given play.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. Now, OC Bodybuilders had something too. He says, I don't understand our route trees. It does feel like we definitely don't utilize the entire field. It feels like there's – go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really route trees at this level, right? It's not like back in the day when you literally had a tree and here's one.
You're playing Madden.
Yeah, it's not like that anymore. I mean, like there's certain, whether you're looking to get vertical, so you're going to hit somebody, with a vertical stem, or whether, there's concepts of routes and what you're supposed to do, but the way that you get there changes, right? And so I think, especially with a guy like Bobby Wade, and this is just pure conjecture, my guess is that he focuses so much with his players about, hey, this is how I want you to get this release off of this look. or, hey, when we got this, I want you to get an inside stem here or whatever the case may be. And sometimes it's not about just like get open space. Just get into open space and give Noah a chance. And there was one too. It was a third down where Noah had to literally hurdle over a defensive lineman. It was the third down of the last drive that we had in regulation. He hurdles over the guy, and you have two guys that are in the same exact window, and the ball's thrown low, and neither of them are really going for it. But it's like, why are there two guys on that play design in the first place?
Right.
It's just stuff like that like again, it's TV copy. I'm not that smart of a person. There's probably answers to it, but it just doesn't seem to fit the norm, and it doesn't seem like something BYU's doing.
All right, yeah.
BYU ran. Sorry, real quick. BYU ran about 4 plays there in the final, in the double overtime and in the final 5 minutes of the game, and they were successful with it. It was Bear Bachmeier power read, and it's like, okay, they were able to execute that over and over and over again. But we don't have plays where we can continuously execute over and over again.
Francisco Oath on a $5 super snap. Why wasn't a safety called on the holding call against BYU? QB was in the end zone.
It's based off of where the holding actually occurs. So the holding was short of it. Now, I will say this. I am curious. Obviously, people are going to look into this. On the third down run where Bachmeier fumbled it. How do you? I tweeted it at the time. I don't understand how that ball was advanced. I also don't know how it was called a first down based off of where the recovery was made. And that is a massive play.
Someone sent Sheer the rule, and the Big 12 refs just fucked that one up. Sorry, Mike. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's a monumental play. A monumental play. And like me from my recliner, I was able to say immediately, hold on. This should be 4th and 2. Right? Because if it's 4th and 2 and you get this out there, that's the game.
Right. And we actually messaged that in our like little group chat we had where I was saying, I'm like, how can you advance the football up? I mean, because that's also elementary knowledge of the game too. It's not like that's some next level thing where you got to go into page 387 of the, of the rule book to see what it says. I mean, that's generally a fairly noticeable thing. So I don't.
Well, and this is where I understand frustrations amongst fans with Brent Brennan. It's that Kalani Sitake on 2 calls that I agree were not great, absolutely laid into the referees and then called a timeout and laid into them again for a minute and a half. And the referees knew they screwed up. On the one that was a roughing the passer, that was not a targeting, it shouldn't have been a roughing the passer. They sat there and they took it.
Right.
And in that situation, I don't understand, especially when we have 2 timeouts, how we're not running down there, taking a timeout and absolutely laying into them and getting something like that figured out.
Yeah. Now let's talk a little bit then about the let's see. All right. The attendance was Brian, I like you, but don't get rid of that comment there, Cody. The attendance wasn't great. The attendance isn't going to be great. That's going to be my next point right here that we're going to talk about. I don't know. This is just my opinion. I'm just going to say this. I don't know that Brent Brennan recovers from this. I'll be honest with you, because I think this was his chance, because the city's still, I mean, you can tell by the attendance figures, whether you're at the game, it's not 48,000 or whatever. It's more like 22 or something like that. I think this was his chance for people that were looking, and you're like, okay, you're 4-1 at this point. You got a good team coming into town. I'm going to give you the chance. And the way that you lost this game, I don't know that he can recover from that, because it was the way that he recovered from that, the way that this happened. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that, I'll say this, if we win that game, right? If in regulation, we get our 2 first downs, we close out the game, we win by 7, and the, 15,000 people that are there rush the field. I think that Kansas, you have about 45,000 people that go.
I'd agree with that. I would agree with that.
I think the only way that he can really get the fan base back this season, and maybe not back, but in terms of fully bought in the way that we're looking for, is either a big win over ASU or a 9-3. I mean, you got to finish by winning
Right.
the 5 of your last 6 or whatever the numbers are.
And again, it's not even so much the loss. It's just, like I said, I keep coming back to this. It's just kind of how they lost the game, because it was just everything that I think a lot of people listen. I think the stereotype of Brent Brennan's probably a little bit overplayed, the whole thing. Like,
Agreed.
I don't care that he wears a lei, or I don't care that he doesn't scream at the officials. That means absolutely nothing to me. I don't care about any of that, to be honest with you. What I do care about, though, is generally going passive in the biggest moments. And just from even my mom, or not my mom, excuse me, a relative messaged me and goes, feels like we're just like, and the exact quote was, and this is from somebody that just casually watches football, just said, is this enough points to win? Because it feels like Arizona feels that way. Yeah. And that can't really be the case, in my opinion. You've got to go for the kill at that point.
Well, like I see Dennis, and obviously, like, I get Dennis's perspective on it, but like, let me just ask people this question. Are you more or less inclined to go to the Kansas game after tonight? Because if you survey the, people that don't go to games, they are less inclined to go to the Kansas game than they are, if we'd won that game.
And that's what I keep coming back to. At the end of the day, this is an attendant. This is going to be, it's very difficult, in my opinion, for DRF to bring somebody back where there's nobody showing up to the games.
Well, and my phone was blowing up tonight from people that I only talk to about Arizona football when we're good, right? Like, they weren't texting me last year about Arizona football.
Right.
I was getting blown up with texts about the game tonight. And I guarantee you this will be the last time that my phone is getting blown up about text this season. And it sucks because I like Brennan a lot.
I do too. I want him to do well.
100%. But like, let's just read the room a little bit. Like, the attendance for the rest of the season is going to be terrible. The vibes, the culture, we're bought into the programness. I mean, like, that's why I say the bar is just so high now, where it's like, you got to be 8-4, maybe 9-3. And you got to be kicking some butt in order to like really get that back. So it's almost like a lost year in terms of just the community.
And if you go down fighting. I think that's just what I keep coming back to. If you're going to go down fighting. All right, we're going to get to the comments here. You guys got some good comments in here. Girth Brooks, great name, by the way, Girth Brooks. Doege called a terrible red zone scheme. I want to get back to that here in a second here. And Arizona went soft with the run pass, fourth quarter drill, 3 minutes. Very much appreciated. All right, real quick, Boog keeps talking about UNLV is an impossible place to win football games. She also hired.
They're 6-0.
Are they 6-0? They are 6-0. I do apologize. Yes. Do we take James Franklin? Well, it could be worse, I guess. Okay, let's get a couple reads in here. I want to talk about the red zone play calling, though, because there was some stuff that I didn't really understand. Okay, but first, let's get a couple reads in here. Okay. All right, now RJ's Frozen Cactus. Now you might say to yourself, man, I wish I had a good place to go watch the game. RJ's Frozen Cactus. You can go in there. They got a massive parking lot. You might see Dennis Walsh's jet parked there, and there's Baggins wrappers like strewn all across because RJ's Frozen Cactus gets it done. Okay, now 100+ craft beers, $2 deals, no bad seats in the house. Huge parking lot. Again, home the AZ12 watch parties. You got food, you got beer, you got drinks. It is a lot of fun. Red hot beer, got messed up there. Ice cold beer, red hot sports. Check it out. And again, maybe a Bloody Mary for that Houston game. Check it out. Okay. All right. Now what else we got? All right, Copal. Everybody get to Copal. Everybody get to Copal. We're going to be having a get together there as well. Mexican food delivered nationwide at mymexicanmenu.com. Use code AZ12 for 10% off your order. Mention Mike Luke for a free elote rib with any entree purchase. Book your next large party or corporate event with Copal. Large party package is available. We also cater any events. Check it out. Tucson's contemporary Mexican food, copaltucson.com. Okay, now. Joseph has not gone there, and Joseph was lying. All right, now, Bridge Tech, one last one. Now, you might say Dennis Walsh. That guy, he's not strong because maybe he is strong, but he could be stronger if he went to a real gym. You don't want to go to a gym where you're working outside or there's a risk of getting bit by a snake. Do you get bit by a snake? Do they bite you? Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah, it's definitely a bite.
Yeah, you don't want to do any of that. You want to go to a real gym, and real gyms use Bridge Tech Communications to be able to get it out because guess what? You're in the financial business, Mr. Tyler Warden. Do you like 750% average ROI?
Yeah, I'd like that.
Yeah, it's always very, very good. So again, check it out. Our guy Tony is the man. All right, one thing I want to talk a little bit about is the wins here. Somebody was saying Michael settled down on Monday. Again, I'm not telling you what I would do. I'm telling you what I think is happening right now.
Yeah, I think this is a very important clarification that we need to make. We're not talking about this team and what their record is going to be at the end of the year and how good of a team this team is. What we are saying is this is a missed opportunity by Brennan's staff to re-engage the community and to buy himself multiple years of being able to see this through.
Right.
I still think this is a team that's probably going 8-4, just given the schedule ahead of them and how they've played. But I think that last year left such a bad taste in people's mouth that the barrier of entry is so much higher for them to buy back in emotionally. And this was not only a missed opportunity, it was a completely bobbled opportunity because of the way that this game ended.
And you've got to look at the big picture of all of this as well. Like you accurately just said, Brent Brennan went into this year with next to no margin for error because of what happened last year. Now, you could say a million different things. That team last year wasn't as good as people said it wasn't as talented, whatever the case may be. All I know is that it was better than what it showed last year, and it should have been significantly better than it showed last year. Should it have been a top 10, 15 team in the country? No, probably not. But it also shouldn't have been 4-8 and losing 56-7 to the fourth string quarterback at UCF. And I think that's why people were just basically out on him. The thing that I will say about though is that, and again, I don't care really about the swearing at the officials and all that stuff. Like, I would like to see somebody work the officials like you just said, but I don't need the whole I'm going to spit in your face and all of that.
Yeah, but we don't need Mike Stoops and Rich Rod again.
Agreed. But when you watch him though, it doesn't. There's never really a sense. And Jedd had this sense. I got to give Jedd some credit on this. Jedd had a sense that he knew what he was doing big picture, that he had an overarching goal and that he was going to get there and that he sold that vision. I don't know that Brent Brennan has ever sold that to the people. And if your team's going to not be good or they're just going to be average or mid, as the kids would say, I think people need to know what your vision is or what you're at least going for and to have a little bit of a command. And let's just be honest, Brent Brennan doesn't have a great command out there. Now, you could say that, does that really matter? Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But it doesn't lead for the assurance that, okay, things are going to get better type stuff.
Well, and that's the problem that you run into when you use the CEO archetype as the way that you're going to build your staff, right? Because now you have an offensive unit and a defensive unit that, like, we don't have the identity of what Brent Brennan brings to the table. Right? Like you look at Texas with Steve Sarkisian, even if the offense isn't working, you know that the offense is accountable to Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah.
And that on the defensive side of the ball, you've got Johnny Nansen and you've got his staff that are, well, it's not even really Johnny anymore, but that are handling that side of it.
Right.
When you are playing the CEO role, though, and things aren't working out, there's only so many times you can say, well, is that coordinator or is that coordinator, or we didn't have this or we didn't have that. Like, I don't know what the identity that he's bringing to the table is, right? It's like with the basketball team, right? We know what Tommy Lloyd's identity is. We know exactly how he wants to build the program. We know exactly how he wants to construct the roster. We know exactly what that team is going to look like when we get out on the court.
And whether you agree with it or not, you know what it is.
It is. Yeah, it is. Exactly. The second Noah's gone, what is our offensive identity? The second that we lose Genesis and Dalton and Trayden Stoops, what is our defensive identity?
Right.
Like that's the concern. And I think that it sucks because I want this program to succeed. I want Brent Brennan to succeed. But this is just such a missed opportunity in terms of being able to re-engage a community that is really good to this team, but they have to be bought in.
Yeah, they have to be bought in. At the end of the day, that's it. And now let's talk a little bit about the wins. Yes, I know that Arizona's 4-2 at this point. And Irish Mike said last year BYU would have boat raced us. I have faith, and that this team is clearly better than last year. There's no doubt about that. It's clearly better. There's clearly been improvement. But I think the thing that you have to look at though is what exactly is how do I put this? Is he the point blank? Is this the man for the job? And I think that, and have you seen something to indicate that that's the man for the job? Now, I'm going to push back a little bit on the record. Now, again, a win is a win is a win. Like Bill Parcells said, you are what your record says you are. I get all that. Every team that Arizona's beat is awful.
Yeah.
They're all, they all suck.
Correct.
Hawaii sucks. Weber State sucks. Kansas State sucks. Although
Oklahoma State sucks.
Oklahoma State's awful. You don't have any good wins. And I would go a step further. During Brennan's tenure, what is his marquee win? A 4-8 Utah team?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, it's probably that with a, octogenarian quarterback. That
right. Yeah, they couldn't. I mean, literally, you had Helen Keller at quarterback. I mean,
Yeah, this was the chance for that marquee game.
Yes.
You're 100% right about that.
Yeah, and that to me still goes back to it is that if you had a couple wins here or there where you're like, okay, well, you beat them. And this was that opportunity. This was absolutely that opportunity to be able to make that one happen. And it just, it just failed.
Well, and what are the games ahead of us that are marquee winnable games, right? Because you've got at Houston, which I don't care if they're 5-1, they are not.
Yeah, they do nothing for me.
It does nothing, right? You've got at Colorado. Congrats. You beat Dion on the road. You have Kansas at home. They look decent. You have Cincinnati on the road. They might be top 25 at that point, but they don't really do anything for you. You got Baylor at home, and then it's at ASU. And so that's when we're saying this was that missed opportunity, because now it's not until November 28th that you play at ASU that you have the ability to say, yep, I'm the dude. Here's my marquee game. Here's my resume. And, recruits, you guys should all want to come play for me. And so it drags this whole conversation another year. It's another offseason of us going, is this going to be the guy? Now, again, I think out of those 6 games I just listed, there's 4 wins on there somewhere. I think this is a better team, and 8-4 is doable. But it's there's no juice behind it.
Thank you. I've been trying this entire post game. This is why you're much smarter than me. You're going to go to much higher plateaus than me. That's exactly what I wanted to say. There's no juice. There's no oomph. There's no. Yeah, you're
if we're 8-3 and we lose to ASU, we're going to have this post game show, and the comment section is going to be fire Brennan again.
Right, and that
means they won 4 out of their next 5.
Right.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, but it would have just been nice to have a nice victory, because if we had won this game and they had done it in a nice little, it'd be. We all know what we saw. That's all I'm just going to say. Yeah. I know there's a couple people that saying it's not bad. I just don't know what else to say. It just wasn't good. Now, I want to talk a little bit then about the red zone play calling here, because I don't quite get what we're going for here. And there was that entire sequence in the first half where you had, when the game started back up, where you had you had the Sam Olsen out, and then you had some really curious play calling as well that I think ended up being a field goal. What's going on with the red zone offense?
Yeah, I think that this is a consequence of the air raid system, because we've built an offense around trying to spread guys out and trying to create conflict in the secondary and having lighter boxes. That's why we ran the ball really well in between the 20s tonight. But when we were in the red zone, we couldn't really run the ball. And the reason is because they can load the box more. They can throw 7 guys in there, and there's just less space for these defenders to have to cover. So when you have wide receivers that aren't getting the best separation, and you've got a quarterback that is staying in the pocket, and they're loading the box, and they're getting good pass rush on, and I hate to say it, but he struggles to see through certain windows.
Right.
It's not a good recipe. And that's why you have to manufacture ways to make it easier on you. So again, let's go back to what did BYU do in nut cutting time? They got Bear Bachmeier out on power. They rolled him out of the pocket where he has one or two reads that he has to see, but he's got everything in front of him. And they ran the ball with LJ. LJ, what's his butt?
The really good running back that basically gets 9 yards per carry. What I'm going to say too about this, and I know that Sataki's a really good coach and he's tenured and all that. When I watch Sataki, I watch and I look at somebody, and I know these are superficial observations from me, but when I watch Sataki, that looks like somebody that has a command of what he's doing. Not only does he have a command of what he's doing, he knows what buttons to press with the officials. He also knows what he is going to do. There is everything. BYU is not a great team. Like, you could watch them. They're not a great team. They're a solid team, but they get the most out of what they have, and you know exactly what you are going to get from them. And that's something that I still don't really feel. By the way, ASU Sucks says we need a QB that is taller than Mike. I'm going to tell you all something here. I am taller than Noah Fafita. I've stood next to Noah Fafita. Noah Fafita is and I don't want to beat him up on the height, but he's 5'8" max. At the absolute max, he is 5'8", and I think he's probably closer to 5'7". I'm taller than Noah, so.
And here's the thing: I don't hate it. Like,
I don't either.
Fine with
I don't think it matters in college.
I just don't want him standing behind 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" offensive linemen and told sit in this pocket and try to find these tight windows.
Right.
Like, let's get him out in space so he doesn't have to do that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and look, like I will never bash on Noah.
Because I love Noah. Noah's one of my favorite players ever here. I love everything about him, the family. I love everything about Noah. Yes.
Yeah, like Noah has done more for this program than anybody since Khalil Tate, I would say. So it's not necessarily, bashing him. And granted, like, he didn't have the most stellar stat line tonight, but I felt like he kept us in the game a lot more, offensively than what other kind of aspects of the game that we were bringing. So, he's not obviously tall, but find ways around that.
Right. Yes. And Dennis Walsh puts it really well. He says, we are Arizona. We know what bad QBs look like. Noah's not a bad QB. That's really the way it is. Now, I want to push back a little bit on what Mobius Storm said a little bit early on. Because he said something to the effect of people that want Brent Brennan fired are just looking for attention. I'm not saying to fire Brent Brennan at all. That's not what I'm saying. Agreed. But anybody that wants Brent Brennan fired is not looking for attention, in my opinion. There's some valid reasons. I would not fire him. But I will say that there are some valid reasons. You can look at that catastrophic season last year. You can look at how this team's played two good teams and lost to both of them. So there are reasons to believe that. It's not like you're saying, it's not like the people that are like calling it, the Alabama fans that are calling for Kalen DeBoer to be fired because he loses 2 games in a season or whatever the case. There's levels to this. How about that, Mr. Tyler Warden?
Yeah, I want to make, I do not want to see him gone. I don't think that it's organizationally beneficial. And again, at the end of the day, I just like the guy and I want to see him succeed. And it gets back to what Jason said before is if you're giving him a year 2, you kind of got to give him a year 3. But it's explainable. And the reason that we're disappointed in this outcome is because we knew what the comments section was going to be tonight. And we know what Twitter is going to be. And we know that it's going to be this constant hum of fire Brennan, burn it down, turn it all over. And that's not what we want for the program.
Yeah.
And I can understand why people have that opinion. I don't share it, but that's the thing that he had the ability to kill tonight.
Right. Now, Kobe L. Field says, Brennan not trying to win in regulations with 2 timeouts is horrendous. I listen.
It's frustrating, but I wouldn't say it's horrendous purely because it's at that point, you've lost momentum. Right. At that point, you just had the opportunity the drive before to put the game away. And, the worst thing that can happen there is that he throws a pick or he, fumbles the ball or something happens, and then you're setting him up with the chip shot. Again, I believe he should have tried to push the ball downfield.
Right.
I don't think it's horrendous. I don't think it's egregious. I think what's egregious is a quarterback sneak with Noah under center on a 4th and 1.
You're not Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least Jalen Hurts has Saquon pushing on his butt. Noah had nothing.
Yeah. Now, I think Terrence Wilmore puts it very, very well here. I feel, and Terrence is one of my favorite people out there. He says, I feel, long story short, the overall ceiling is just low with Brennan. They won't be last, but they'll never compete. And I think it's the last part right there that makes it's not exciting. Listen, there's some people that like Iowa football. I don't. But
psychopath.
Yeah, but yeah, you're a psychopath if you actually like watching that. I agree. But I'm going to say this. There's a lot of people that say, hey, man, we're going to win 8 or 9 games each season. We're Iowa. I'm totally cool with that. They're bottom line people. But if you're going to be a 6 or a 7 win program and you're going to have no oomph or juice, I think as you put it, that's a really hard thing to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, again, like that, the ceiling comment really resonates there. Is like, it's hard to envision us putting together a team right now that is 10-2, 11-1, and competing for a Big 12. Like it feels like we are middle of the pack in this Big 12, which is a down Big 12. Mm-hmm. Like this is an opportunity to have that 23 type season, and it's just like it's not there.
Right now, Colton Hawthorne, who, by the way, one of the coolest names and one of the coolest people ever, says, that's why I hate having a head coach who has zero play calling experience. If a dumb play is called, that head coach will override that. Not sure, Brendan. What do you think about that, Tyler?
Well, he wouldn't override it, but he would ream them afterwards.
Yeah.
Right. Again, it just gets back to accountability. Mm-hmm. Like Brent Brennan is an offensive mind, right? He hasn't had play calling experience before, but he's an offensive mind. So he knows bad plays when he sees them. But like, what are the other options too? This was part of the issue that we ran into last year, right? Dino was a horrendous play caller, and then we got rid of him. And it wasn't, hey, now Brent Brennan can step in and call plays.
Right.
It's okay. We're Matt Atkins, right? Versus with Jedd, you had Jedd. You had
the Bucks stopped with Jedd when it came to offense. Good or bad, indifferent, the Bucks stopped there. I don't know where, and I know that Brennan says it in his press conferences, but I don't know where the Bucks stops. Where is, if there's things that make no sense, where is, I mean, I know it stops with Brent Brennan, but is he correcting it? Is he, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Now, everybody telling me Iowa scored 37, a blind pig finds a truffle or whatever that is. I've watched Iowa football for a long time. I've literally seen them not to try to score in games. But you know what I think it is too? I have an impossible time seeing Brent Brennan having a year like ASU had last year, for example. I just can't see that, where you continue to gain momentum, and by the end of the year, you're a team that really nobody wants to deal with. It feels very much of like I said, it feels like the best case scenario is you get about 6, 7 wins, maybe occasional 8, but you don't really matter against good teams in the Big 12. I think that's my concern, I guess.
Yeah, I think if you look back, like in the post-Tomey era, at the coaches that had the longest wick, it was the coaches where you thought, well, they can actually string stuff together, and this can actually be a top 15 team. Right, whether it was Rich Rod winning the Pac-12 South and having marquee wins over top 5 Oregon multiple times, or there was Mike Stoops with similarly being able to beat Oregon and being able to be competitive in the Pac-10. Someone didn't have that. Someone wasn't here long. And with Jedd would have had as long of a leash as possible, because in 23 he was able to show he did what ASU did last year.
I got to push back a little bit against Luda's my dad. He stopped the Jedd Glazing. He beat up that was an awesome team that he had. Yeah. You can just tell when you look at it, that team had something like 15 to 18 NFL players. You look at the wide receiver unit. It was T-Mac. It was Jacob Cowling. You look at the tight end. It was Tanner McLaughlin. You look at the 3 running backs. It was Jonah Coleman. It was DJ Williams. It was Michael Wiley. The line was Jordan Morgan, Jonas Savanea, Wendell Moy. I could keep going on and on. That team, that was a loaded football team, period.
Okay, but let's not also forget they were at number 19 Washington. Mm-hmm. They were home versus Oklahoma State, who was 11th at the time. Mm-hmm. Home versus UCLA, who was 19th at the time. At Colorado.
Right.
Home versus 22 Utah. At ASU, and then beat Oklahoma, who was number 12 in the Alamo Bowl. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You had 5 ranked wins in a 7-game winning streak.
All right, now Irish Mike says 15-18. I'm just going to do this. I know this doesn't matter, but I'm going to do this off the top of my head. Jonah Coleman's going to play in the NFL. T-Mac is in the NFL. Jacob Cowing's in the NFL. Tanner McLaughlin's in the NFL. Jordan Morgan's in the NFL. Jonas Sabanea's in the NFL. I'm trying to think. Wendell Moy's going to have a good chance of being in the NFL. You look on the defensive side of the football.
Genesis.
You got Takario, even though he can't catch the football, is going to play in the NFL. Ephesians Prysock has a good chance of playing in the NFL. I can keep going. That was a loaded football team. I mean, it just was. Tyler Loop going to play in the NFL.
I don't know if you said Wiley, but Michael Wiley.
Yeah, I mean,
Michael Wiley was our number 2 back, and he's still in that.
Right. If there wasn't 15, there was damn near close to 15 NFL players on that team. So I'm going to leave it at that. I disagree. You're my guy. Lute is my daddy, but I'm going to totally disagree. By the way, it's the MNFL. I do apologize. Now let's go back to let's get back to this, but let's get to a couple reads in here. Yeah, but again, Mississippi State is the first or second game of the season, and Noah wasn't the quarterback.
And it was in overtime.
Yeah.
And your other 2 losses were Washington, who was 7th, and USC, who was 9th, that you took into triple overtime.
I forgot BBN as well. Big Bill Norton in the NFL. How can I forget BBN? So there. All right. Now, welcome to the Rock. Two convenient locations, Tucson plus Green Valley. Welcome to the Rock. Now, serving residents and contractors. Now, east of Benson, Sierra Vista, west of Marana, south of Nogales, north to Oracle. Boom. Now, here's the other thing that's great about it, too. It's not just in Green Valley. So if you're somebody like Dennis Walsh and you're flying above and you're gallivanting over the the wasteland and you're like, you know what? I don't want to have to go to Green Valley, or I don't want to have to go down there and, to Green Valley. You could go to Tucson and get it as well. Check it out. North Oracle, south of Nogales, west of Marana, east of Benson, Sierra Vista. Boom. All right, what else we got? All right, Harris Dental Championship Package. Arizona did not deliver the championship package. Owned by local Arizona alumni. Only offers necessary treatment. Land the man with the master plan. Ask about the championship package. The great thing about it, too, is that it's going to be live streamed. They're going to be giving me a dental implant. So if you want to see me in a lot of pain, then this is going to be the show for you. I'm still not sure if this is Land's sister. I do believe it is. I don't believe him, though, when he says that the women in the background are related to him. Don't believe that one, though. Daily urgent care Monday through Friday, and they only offer necessary treatment. You don't got to go to Thailand to get this deal. Stay here and do it in Tucson. Boom. Yes. Now, what else we got? All right, we got one more. Come on, Cody. Okay, now small business with big savings. Comfort X HVAC. Maybe you're like Kobe and you're driving around and you don't have air conditioning in your car. And this is a really bad day to not have air conditioning because at the same time, Tyler, like you have to have the window rolled up so you can't roll it down and you're suffocating inside your house. That's not or suffocating inside the car. Don't be like Kobe. Do you
think Kobe has AC in his apartment?
It's funny.
He doesn't have it in the car.
He was in the show one time, and there was those little creaky vents that they look like I don't know, like a place where basically like a rodent would live. That's what he said was his air conditioning, and I was like, I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Matt Tice, good night, my man. I don't see it. I don't think he has air conditioning. So again, Comfort X HVAC can help Kobe out. 520-222-7012. Okay, now. Let's talk a little bit about what's that next game then for Arizona. You got Houston. It's a 9:00 kickoff. I agree with you. I think Houston does nothing for me. Houston's another one of these teams. It's like 5-1, but you watch them and you're like, Arizona can win that game. My concern is that it's on the road, and at the same time, it is it's on the road, and it's a 9:00. It's a 9:00. It's 9:00 kickoff. I almost said tip-off kickoff.
Yeah, I mean, honest to God, when I saw Houston almost lose to Oregon State on a Friday night, that for me, I was like, oh, okay. Well, this is exactly what we expected out of the Houston program that is in a rebuilding phase, but is never really been too relevant. Yeah. So again, I think I think this is a good team. I think this is a team that has the ability to kind of grow from their mistakes. I think the team actually took a major step up tonight relative to what we saw against Iowa State. You know, that was one of the things I was talking about on Thursday is I wanted to see how much better they got. So, you know, I think it's a winnable game, and I stand by, like, I think this is a 8-4, you know, looking schedule. Right. I just don't think it's too difficult going forward.
By the way, BYU fans, very much like BYU fans. A lot of nice comments in the chat. You're one of my favorite fan bases. Dennis Walsh, be nice to these people. They're very nice people. I like BYU fans. I think they're really cool. I like Dennis Walsh too.
And kudos to them for showing up. Like,
they're awesome
in a monsoon, and they were at least a third of the stadium.
It was funny. I had one guy come up to me. And he goes, because he saw the media badge, and he goes, he's like, "Hey, it's a privilege to be in your stadium, and I just want to wish a good game to you and your team." And I was like, I don't know that I've ever heard that before from a rival fan that came in here. It's a privilege to be in Arizona Stadium. Arizona fans don't even think it's a privilege to be in Arizona Stadium. So either way, BYU fans, they're cool. I like them a lot. Okay, so. All right, now looking ahead, though, this is the thing that we do have going for us in the Big 12, though, is that there are not a lot of juggernauts. You know, there are some teams that you look at. I mean, who knows? If Sam Leavitt is out for the season, Arizona can absolutely, because Jeff Sims is awful. You know, ASU will not – I'm going to say this right now. ASU will not win a football game with Jeff Sims in at quarterback.
Curious, what's their schedule?
Yeah, pull up their schedule, because he had 50 yards going into the fourth quarter. So
did he really?
Yeah, he was like 10 of 19 for 50
Mike,
yards.
It gets bad.
They're going to get their butts kicked by Texas Tech.
Yeah, they got Tech. They are home versus Houston. Then they go to Iowa State. And then they have West Virginia, Colorado, us to end it. But, I mean, if Leavitt's out for any extended period of time.
They're losing a lot of games.
Yeah, I mean, you could be in a situation where you lose all three of those. Like, I know we just were saying that Houston's not good, but, like, I think that's how little we believe in Jeff Sims as a quarterback. They could be in a situation where they're, like, 4-5.
Yeah, but either way, I'm going to say this, though, that they're not going to be – their goals they had coming into the season will not be intact if Jeff Sims is in there for any period of time.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Jeff Sims a bunch on this podcast, so I think people kind of know the general.
They know where we stand.
I'll say this, you know, obviously, like, I have a affinity for Kenny Dillingham, given my kind of coaching relationship and everything, and I think all of us more or less do.
Kenny's awesome.
We all like Kenny. My fear with ASU this year was that the expectations were so unbelievably unreasonable based off of what they had done last season. And how much they lost. Like, I think they are literally in the same boat that we are in, just like 2 years later, where it was like, you know, like if you lived in an alternate universe where Jedd had stayed instead of leaving, and you know, you had seen the year, you know, 2024, and we were an 8-4 team or a 7-5 team. That's kind of the universe that they're living in right now, and it's really kind of a discredit to him. Because, you know,
and they got really lucky in those two wins against Baylor and TCU. I mean, you know, if you watch.
Yeah, they also got unlucky against Texas, right? So, like, you get
for sure, it evens out for sure.
But like, I mean, if Jeff Sims is leading that team right now, like,
was that the dumbest. That was the dumbest thing I've ever heard a Power 5 coach say, though, and I've told him this before when he said that he had 2 Sunday quarterbacks on his roster. Unless there's 2 Sam Levitts, like that, or you like split them in half, or his embryo is somewhere else. No, you have 1, and that is it.
Well, look, I got 3 Saturday quarterbacks at Chaparral. I'll say it that way.
Well, right? Just put it that way, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You just got to say. You got to say things sometimes.
Yeah, and I watch a lot of Nebraska as well. Sims sucks. That's all I can put it. Okay, now, so anyways, now moving forward a little bit, all these games are kind of winnable. Now, you could say that they're losable, but they're kind of winnable. Colorado sucks. Colorado
sucks. Kansas, I mean, 4-3, you know, lost. They lost tonight, right? Yeah, they got destroyed by Tech. barely beat a bad UCF team.
Right.
I mean, the Kansas-Cincinnati game was even weird because Cincy barely beat Kansas, and it's like I don't even know how good Cincinnati is. Like it's just.
Are you sold on Tech?
Yeah.
I'm
all in on Tech.
Right. I am. Yeah. All right. Now let's hear. Cody, what is he didn't seem to have Brent Brennan didn't have an issue with the call about the fumble. Is that what you're saying, Cody?
He doesn't know the rule.
Believed it was correct. Nobody has this. Well, that's a problem. That's a problem.
I will say this. It seems that like nobody knows the rule because I'm seeing multiple things across the board.
Right. Now listen.
Either way, it's crazy.
But if you are paid millions of dollars to coach a sport, you should know that rule, especially when it's the rule that was shown on Twitter was on fourth down or within the final 2 minutes of the game. If there's a special rule about fourth down or in the final 2 minutes of the game, you should know that thing in and out.
Yeah, or at least lie like Jedd did and pretend you know. Don't just say that I don't know. That was not. Now, I'm going to say this real quick about the big. You know what I need to have happen in the college football playoffs? I need to have Tech against Miami so that everybody goes absolutely crazy in the championship.
Yeah, it might be shaping up that way. Miami's a wagon right now.
Right. Yes. So yeah, but dude, yeah, they both look awesome. So we'll see. All right,
and Mike. You know what I will say?
Huh?
If we fast forward a week, how big does the Houston game now become?
Oh, it's huge.
And not necessarily in terms of the upside that you get out of it, but it's the absolute downside, right? Like this game was all about being able to capture the upside and the momentum of like the fan base and the program and the vibes and all that stuff. This is about loss mitigation now, because if you go out and you lose to a Houston team, then I think that seat gets very, very, very hot.
I think I'm just going to say it to you right now. I think if he loses to Houston, I think he's done. I don't think he's ever going to be fired in the middle of the season, but I don't think there's any way. If you lose to Houston after the way that you lost today, I have a very hard time just seeing how, because people got to remember that. People got to remember this as well, that if you're DRF, you still at the end of the day, you've got to look at that crowd. And if you've got 22,000 people, now Irish Mike, I love Irish Mike because he is so much smarter than me and he brings me back to earth. You fail to realize something. When you are a football school like us, every game is huge. That is a good point. We can't take any game for granted. I get all of that. That's a fair point.
You know who becomes the most important person in the Arizona football program right now? Oscar Rios.
Oh, big time. Big time. Yes.
Like, imagine if he decommitted this week.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about Oscar Rios here in a second. I've been calling him I know Mike Luke messing names up. Hard to believe. I've been calling him Ramos all week. All right, let's get a couple reads in because I want to talk to you a little bit about him and just kind of your initial thoughts. But first, all right, now the Family Food Project here. Very, very good. Now, listen to this. So I will say this. These are fajitas that she's making, and these look very good. I thought it was spaghetti for the longest time, and but no, it's fajitas. It looks good. It also looks like a kitchen that has air conditioning. But currently, 255 meal kits per week, 2026 goal, 1,000 meal kits per week, and donations made with AZ12 comment will be matched cumulative up to $10,000. Check it out. Now again, Family Food Project, get in there. It's awesome. And again, they will match it. $10,000. Check it out. All right. Now looks like, all right. Jesse's tattoo shop. All right. Now, you ever gone to do a tattoo shop and you're wondering to yourself, you're like, man, this place looks a little sketchy. There's like rodents everywhere. And there's like a cat screaming on the top of the shelf. You don't have any of that here at Jesse's. Jesse's is awesome. Golf Links San Pantano, sober shop. And I think the best thing about it, too, is that they take a ton of pride in it. You go in there, everybody is very serious about it. And Jesse is the man. I think he started out of his garage. He got so many different people come in there. He opened up his own shop. It's got to be the biggest shop in the city. It is amazing. Go in there. And he's got some cool community stuff going on.
Do you want to show the community stuff?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's why There you go. The Tattoo Expo. Check it out. Look at this thing. Yeah, look at this guy right there. Let's talk about somebody not to mess with. Check it out. Tucson, Arizona, October 24th, 25th, 26th. Top artists from all over the nation. Live performances, vendors, food, drinks, and much more. $20 pass, $40 3-day pass. Check it out. Back the Tat. Now. All right, what else? All right, and they got a car show going on. Maybe you'll see me riding that bull. They got an electric bull. There's a toy drive kickoff Sunday, November 30th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Check it out. Boom. All right, Foster Plumbing, back the pipe. Now, does your plumbing work, Mr. Tyler Warden?
It does, thankfully.
Does your girlfriend's plumbing work as well? I would hope so.
Yeah, we'll say yes.
Yes, that's what we like to hear. That's the only right answer. Check it out. Residential and commercial, licensed, bonded, and insured, sewer line coating, point repairs, all of that. And again, check it out. Quality work at a fair price, because call 520-603-3817 to schedule service today. As Dennis Walsh says, back the front pipe with the no nut. I would agree with that 24/7 service. Okay, now let's see. All right, that's it. All right, now, what we're going to talk about, let's see here. Irish
Oscar Rios.
Oh, Oscar Rios here. Okay, let's talk about Oscar Rios. Oscar Rios, I think, can be very good. He's a top 15 quarterback. Those guys generally are, people to believe in. He's also 160 pounds. Anybody coming that's expecting him to come in and be awesome immediately, Mr. Tyler Warden, you see all the best players in the state. You see, please talk to me a little bit about that. This isn't the same as putting like T-Mac in at wide receiver and saying, hey, go run down the field and catch the ball. Please explain this a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, like in general, it is extremely difficult to like come in at the college level as a quarterback and be able to succeed right away, which is what is quite frankly really impressive about Bear Bachmeier. Now, Granted, Bear Bachmeier is doing it with his legs, right? A lot of times when you do see freshmen that are doing exceptionally well, it's a pretty vanilla passing scheme, but they're able to get, out in space and run and, have a lot of yards that way. He is, he went to the same school as Aiden Childs, who's at Michigan State now. Very kind of similar type of game. Like, I almost kind of think of Oscar Rios as if you just took Noah and you just stretched him out and you made him taller and skinnier. And I think he's going to need time. Like, he's going to have to hit the weight room. Like, I think he's going to benefit from, a redshirt year if we can do that to him. He's got to add to the frame, and then you just got to learn the scheme. You got to learn the language. You got to, understand all the nuances of an offense. And so I don't think that he's a guy that's going to be competing with Noah next year. Now, who knows? Maybe I could be wrong. But like I said, if he ended up not coming here, that would kind of be, in my opinion, the death nail for Brent Brennan.
I would agree with that. Now, real quick, I got to ask people out there that are smart. I see this frame or this phrase all the time now, and I've never heard this before. I keep hearing the phrase "red line accountability starts with me." How is that different than just total accountability? What is it? What is it different?
I've been too embarrassed to admit this. I don't get the red line thing.
I get what that means.
I get what redlining like an engine is, but like it's just being used as like an adjective now, and I don't know what it means. I'm assuming it just means like the accountability of holding everyone that they're giving 100% effort on every single play.
Yeah.
I didn't think effort was an issue tonight.
Yeah,
so I don't know what it means.
I don't know. I don't think effort was an issue at all. Like, I just think that I think it was just we've been over that. Okay. Now, everybody, go to Little Caesars. Code 15 off 20. We got a new code coming up here on Monday. 15% off any $20 or more purchase. Code LCFREECC. Free crazy combo with any purchase. Okay. All right. The great Tyler Warden. You are the man, Tyler. You know more football than, certainly than me and most of the people in this chat outside of Irish Mike. So, on that note, though, Mr. Tyler Warden, we have you on again soon. We very much appreciate you, my friend.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's funny, we didn't get to talk about the lightning delay at all, which I thought was going to be a major point of it.
After Arizona lost, it was just like, but go ahead. Exactly. Yeah, let's talk about it.
But Thursday, I was on the show on Thursday. We had a game Thursday night our game got hit with a lightning delay that has pushed the final 9 minutes of the game to Monday. So let me just say that this weekend, I am sick of lightning. Both of my teams have had absurd delays because of lightning. Wish it had benefited us more, but just thought I would close the loop on that one. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. But
and we didn't even get the 8 inches of rain.
Yeah, like, that was all crap.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was all crap. We're supposed to have 8 inches of rain. It's going to be like 0.8 inches of rain over 3. It's all garbage. But anyway, pay the warden. I like that. Pay the warden. The warden. I
got enough jobs right now. I do this for fun.
All right, my man. Totally agree with all of you guys. Or totally agree. Not totally agree with all of you. And all the super snaps, very much appreciated. Oh, I don't think I read Andre's super snap. Hold on. Let me get Andre's super snap in here. Mike, can I get you to endorse me now instead of endorsing Doege or Brennan? Nope, not going to happen. Nice try. Not on my watch. Okay. Now, on that note, though, we will be back with you on Monday for the great Tyler Warden. I am merely Mike Luke. Everybody in the chat, very much appreciate you. TTFN, ta-ta for now.